May 5th, 2021 is a date that will go down in history as one of the most significant of the hectic space season that we are living in these last years. It was on that day, in fact, that Starship SN-15, Starship serial number 15, the latest prototype of the rocket designed by Elon Musk's SpaceX, after the failures of its predecessors, has finally managed to achieve a perfect vertical landing, thus demonstrating the possibility of making reusable and autonomous a vehicle, the carrier rocket, so far considered only as a brutal source of thrust. With this first success, Starship has been officially called to play the role of protagonist of interplanetary transport for at least the next 10 years. An investiture reinforced also by the recent decision of NASA to take advantage of its extraordinary characteristics to bring a human crew to the moon with the Artemis 3 mission. Starship is the story of the rocket that becomes a space shuttle. It is the capsule that becomes a space plane. It's the future of a science fiction film that becomes reality. I don't know if it has the same effect on you. Suddenly, human beings landing on Mars in a decade or so seem much more realistic, and this increased confidence gives us the desire to get to know Starship all the way, which we're going to do in a moment. Moon, Mars, and beyond. The present and future of space exploration is Starship. Musk has often spoken about his dream of building cities on Mars. He believes that settlements would need large numbers of people in order to become self-sustaining. Realizing this dream requires a vehicle that's up to the task. Starship is a rocket and spacecraft combination that could ferry more than 100 people at a time to the Red Planet. The system is designed to be fully reusable, meaning the principal hardware elements are not discarded in the sea or allowed to burn up, as happens with some other launch systems, but are instead recovered from space. They can then be refurbished and flown again, reducing the cost of the whole enterprise. Starship is able to land on Earth, the Moon, and Mars, be refueled and return to fly after only 24 hours, or be used for orbital transport, carrying 100,000 kilograms of goods from one point of the planet to another in 2 to 3 hours. At launch, the spacecraft called Starship will sit atop a rocket called Super Heavy. The combined system will stand 120 meters tall and is also referred to as Starship. Let's look at the spacecraft first, with its nose cone and landing fins. The stainless steel vehicle resembles the rocket ships from the golden age of science fiction. At the rear of the 15-meter-long craft are 6 highly efficient Raptor engines, developed over the course of a decade by SpaceX. The combustion takes place in stages, and the engine's design cuts the amount of propellant that is wasted. Towards the middle of the vehicle are the propellant tanks. These feed liquid methane and liquid oxygen to the Raptors. Methane is the fuel and oxygen acts as an oxidizer, a chemical that makes the fuel burn. The combination is dubbed methalox. The choice of fuel is unusual for rocket engines, but methane can generate plenty of thrust. It's also a prudent choice in light of Musk's design on Mars. The SpaceX founder says that liquid methane could be synthesized from Martian subsurface water and from atmospheric carbon dioxide, using a chemical process known as the Sabatier reaction. Refueling Starship for the return trip to Earth using Martian resources would confer a level of self-sufficiency, making journeys both more feasible and cost-effective. Towards the front of the spacecraft, which is sometimes referred to as the upper stage, is a huge payload compartment that will be able to haul large cargo or people to destinations in deep space. Now let's return to the rocket. Measuring 70 meters long, Super Heavy will be filled with 3,400 tons of cryogenic, chilled methalox. It will be powered by around 28 Raptor engines. This specification has changed several times, and it should be able to lift at least 100 tons of payload and possibly as much as 150 tons to low Earth orbit. This will make Super Heavy more powerful than the immense Saturn V launcher used for the Apollo moon missions in the 60s and 70s. The launch happens like this. As Starship ascends from the launch pad, the combined system will begin to pitch over towards the intended orbit. When the upper stage separates in space, Super Heavy flips over while falling back towards Earth. As it descends, Super Heavy will deploy steel structures called grid fins from the sides of the booster. These will help steer the rocket stage back towards its launch pad so it can be flown again. Previously, SpaceX had wanted to ignite Super Heavy's Raptor engines to guide it down to a precision landing on 6 steel legs. SpaceX does something similar with the first stages of its Falcon 9 rockets, landing them safely on landing pads and drone ships after a launch. But Mr. Musk recently tweeted to say that this thinking has changed. SpaceX now plans to catch the falling booster using an arm on the launch tower. This is the structure that provides engineers and crew members with access to the spacecraft and rocket while they are sitting on the pad before launch. How exactly this catch mechanism will work, however, remains to be seen. Meanwhile, the Starship upper stage could be inserted into a parking orbit after separation, allowing it to be refilled with propellant. To refuel, the spacecraft would dock or mate with another Starship already circling the Earth that acts solely as a propellant depot. The two ships would actually mate at the rear section. They would use the same mating interface that they used to connect to the booster on liftoff. To transfer propellant, it becomes very simple. You use control thrusters to accelerate in the direction that you want to empty.